nice if you have those and you have the radius logs and the time the NTP service is running correctly in that company, you can really create a great timeline. And that's one of the first things I always create. After I've done the checksums, for example, I always create a timeline for my data. It tells you so much. But then again, in virtual environments, I hope that the timeline will be representative, so that the NTP is running correctly. So which tools can you use for Citrix? Well, actually the normal tools like FTK Imager, Ncase, and the University of Fairbanks in, I think it's Alaska. They have developed VIX tools. They didn't have released it yet, but it's looking very promising. They've released a kind of tool set which freezes actually a Citrix Xen server. So you can give your commands to copy data out of the server while it's running live without actually changing the environment, because everyone knows if you change your evidence, forget it. Once wasted, always wasted. Well, VMware, like I'm talking about. Well, Workstation, ESX server, I think everyone has worked with it already. Especially VM Workstation is quite valuable. And if it's static or live forensics, we need different tools and we need a different approach. And many use the VM Workstation actually as a testing platform. Well, and what we see now in real life is that a suspect is building up a VM machine in Workstation, for example, performing his crimes, then deletes the VM. And I have an example. Sometimes I'm asked to do some cyber crime research and also on terrorism. And this is a cyber jihad site. And this site is actually used, this forum, for spreading movies about kills of US soldiers or other acts of the digital mujahideen, and to spread it out, to recruit new young people for their battle. And what they actually do is they make movies of it, and they transform it in various formats, so it can be spread easily. They use sites like RapidShare or that kind of stuff, but the formats are so small they can spread it out with mobile cell phones as well, because that's very popular and not monitored by the secret agencies. And what we here see is on the last, I think, on the page, VMware Workstation, the latest version, before Altos only and exclusive terrorists. But if you look in that link and you have going reading through the manual, you'll read that they're actually describing how to set up a VM workstation, how to set up a VM, which tools you need to convert the various video formats, how to upload them to different sites, and afterwards how they have to secretly and securely delete and wipe that VM, so that every trace of their laptop is disappearing. This is really scary. We know that the terrorists are using steganography, or I hate this word. But we see that they're using more and more over the latest techniques. What about this thing? I don't know if anyone recognizes this one. It's very helpful. It's the portable virtual private machine. It's very small. You can run it from a USB stick. You can set up encrypted tunnels everywhere in the world over the internet. And when you're finished, well, you plug out USB stick. No one cares about it. So what are the files of interest if you're looking for VMware? What I did, I've written a little small script in Ncase to detect these files out of an image. So VMX, VMSD, VMTM, VMDK, of course, the log, swap file, snapshot files that could be very interesting if you want to reconstruct some things which have happened, and a vmem, virtual memory paging file. So what are the tools you can use? Of course, FTK Imager as well. LiveView. LiveView is a tool you can actually reconstruct or boot up the VMDK. So you can see, actually, if you copy it to the VMDK, you install live view, import the VMDK file, and you boot up actually the OS as it originally was. So you can live investigate that environment. Well, in case, I told you before, it is limited. You will get some errors. During one of my lab setups, I noticed that VMDK didn't work quite well in Ncase, so I converted it to a DD file. But I suddenly lost some of my files. And I tried to reconstruct it again, so okay, another time converting again the VMDK file, and I got the same error. And I asked the guys from guidance about it, and well, they couldn't reconstruct either. So you see, well, losing files in your investigation is killing. So Ncase is not always working for VMware files. Well, MMLS and DD, well, normal tools. Raw to a VMDK. So actually, you can reconstruct a DD file to a VMDK file format and then open it in live view. So you can open up the OS. Well, I'm mounting carve it for most of PhotoRec. So I love to do carving. It's one of my favorite research items in my investigations because it always gives you extra data. And this is what I tried to mention earlier before. We need each other in the community. And we're looking for tools for investigation about virtual forensics. And there are not many of them. And actually, this tool, it's compare snapshots. It's a tool by Xiron. Actually, I found it in an anti-malware forum. Someone was investigating malware, and he did something with the VMware workstation, built up the environment, made a snapshot, infected his computer, made another snapshot, and he wrote a tool to compare the snapshots. So this is really great if you have reconstructed out of your image a couple of snapshots. You can compare them. I once did this one for someone who had child porn on his laptop. And I don't know how it's here in the US, but a lot of people we have in the Netherlands, which are spreading child porn, they infect on purposely their machines with malware to say, hey, the malware did it. So yeah, it's up to us then to prove that's not the malware, but they actually by themselves are downloading the stuff. So this is one of the tools I've used. At the end of my talk, I will give you the link to my site. There's a paper about this presentation. It's not on your CD-ROM, but in that paper there are also the links for the tools I'm mentioning. Well, if you have the VMem file, a great tool is memparser by Chris Betts. You can use it in your normal for forensic research, but if you have the VMem file, well, actually you can use it for your research as well. With the memparser, sorry, you can use it as well. In this example, you see evil bird notepad with .exe, a piece of malware I found in the memory running. And this is another great tool. I recently discovered this one, and I'm testing with it. It's OpenVMS drivers. It's actually Java written, and well, you can do a lot of it. For example, if you see the command line on top of my slide, you see, well, I'm mounting a VM file system, which is a DD. And just by putting the info, it shows you all the information about the image. But on the bottom of my slide, you see VMDK, VMSN, metadata, or log files. Actually, you can, with file copy or path or size position, you can, for example, a file copy or a path, you can see where the files in the VMDK are structured. And actually you can restore them. So it's a really great tool for restoring data out of your VMDK. And I wrote a small script. If I restore it, it goes through an MD5 checksum or a SHA-1 checksum. So that's easy. Windows 7. Who is using Windows 7 here? Can I see some hands? A lot of them. And who is using the XP mode? XP mode, the exploit mode. They didn't allow me yet to tell. Well, in Vista already, you saw that VHD file format was included in the system. So you see the operating system with a virtual component in it. So you can mount your VHD files. You can do it read-only mount then. You also can boot from a VHD file, and actually the system backup is made in VHD format. And there are currently a lot of tools around in which you can mount VHD, and I will show you later on a small demo about it, how to mount it and how to carve, for example, data out of it. So it's really easy. And VHD is so structured that you can use it in Ncase, and you can also use it in FTK as well. For example, here I've mounted a VHD file with FTK, and on the left side it's a bit small, but I think you can see it. You see actually the structure of my disk, and you can get the data out of it. So that's really nice. So I'll show you a little demo. So I've made a little test image. And I say, oh, it's already mounted, so then I do a mount. It's a tool called Gizmo. So I said mount image, and I said, of course, because we are forensics, read only. Drive letter. And I said, okay. Yep, so. So normally I use other tools, but to do one quickly, I grabbed recover my files, carver, recover a drive, and I said this one, automatic drive recovery, start, and you see that it's searching on my VHD file for deleted or lost files. There's one thing about recover my files. It will show now the actual file names on the left side. And later on, when it's finished, it says something like reconstructed files. So the original file name is disappeared. So that's terrible. But so you see here on the left side here. So you see it's quite fast. Normally I would use PhotoRec. It's a great tool for carving data. So it's almost there. It's completed. You see over here, you see some pictures I got out of my file. Nothing interesting. I was last year in Senegal, so you see the pictures here. Bruce Snyder. So you can see, actually, mounting VHD with some data carving, it's quite easy. Then my favorite topic, the exploit mode. Well, XP mode is used for old applications. Actually, what it does, if you say, okay, I want to use XP mode, it grabs a piece of your hard disk, installation of virtual PC, installation of Windows XP Service Pack 3, and actually when you install an application in the XP mode, it publishes in your Windows 7. But there's one thing I discovered. The moment you choose for installing Windows XP mode, it grabs a piece of your hard disks, but it doesn't reformat it. So if you have if you're acquiring a computer, for example, with XP mode, please, the VHD file, carve it, because there could be very useful information in it. I've told Microsoft about it, that it would be more nice to format or wipe the file before installing the XP Service Pack 3 in it, but maybe in the next Service Pack. And one of the other things is that automatic updates or the firewall in Windows XP is not enabled. And underwater, everything is shared with Windows 7 at a system level. So that's why I call it exploit mode, because if you're capable of writing some piece of malware that is discovering, hey, it's running XP mode, and you are able to publish